I have here two popular choices of pens, one being the Sharpie pen and the other one being the Staedtler Fineliner. Hope I'm saying that right. Staedtler. I know sometimes people get that name wrong. I usually call it Staedtler, but Staedtler. Anyways, we're going to compare these two pens and see what their differences are and some of the similarities. Well, the obvious similarities is that, well, they're both drawing utensils, part of my supplies of a million pens, it seems like. But anyways, this pen here, the Sharpie pen, this one you can buy online, comes in packs. This is a fine point, and most of the ones I've seen, they either come in a pack of 6 or 12. The barrel on this one is a round barrel, and these also do come in different colors other than just black, and that is the same for the Staedtler. This one does come in other colors as well, but I will be comparing these two for today. So the difference between this one and the other one is that this one has a tripod shape to the pen, which I actually find more appealing, and I find it more comfortable to draw with or for writing. I know some people might not like that, but for beginners it can be very useful, which allows you to keep you holding the pen in the proper position, and it helps you grip the pen better, so that if you're in a warm climate or your fingers are sweaty, it doesn't really slip off as much as you will with the Sharpie pen here because of the round barrel. This pen is also slightly thinner, and as you can see here, it's got a slight groove to it, which does help a little bit with your fingers, and it prevents them from slipping off of the pen. This one is drive safe, and I'm pretty sure this one is as well, although it does not say it on the pen. Now let's go ahead and compare the width of the line, and then we'll go ahead and move from there and compare any feathering or differences in the line thickness and how the color is. So let's go ahead here. We'll put, let's see the name of it, Staedtler. This one is actually running out of ink. Let me switch to the other one. I was using that one for a lot of drawing recently. So this one here, is that one out of ink as well? I think I've used up both of them. Maybe I have. There we go. So this is a Staedtler. Let's go ahead and compare. I will draw a regular speed on a line, and then I will draw a slower one. Normal speed, and then slower. Now let's go ahead and compare that to the Sharpie pen here. Don't mind my handwriting. I don't really practice handwriting at all. One thing I will say that I noticed between these two pens is the second line. This one here, it seems like there's a little bit more feathering than this one, but I think that might be due to me applying pressure to the pen. The nib on this one, I noticed it seems to be a little bit longer at the tip. So if I draw that line again, I'm going to see how it looks if I apply slightly, just a little bit less pressure, but still draw the same speed. It's a little bit better, but not too much. I noticed this one seems to work more like a marker, whereas this one kind of works more like a pen. Obviously, it's in the name of it, but this pen does work great, being that there's just a slight difference in the feathering of the pen. There's not too much of a difference in that, so I don't think that that's that much of a downside, but I think the fact that this one has a tripod and grip and that you get a little bit more grip with the pen when you're drawing, so that helps out as well. But now we're going to compare the color and see if there's any reflection from the light onto the ink on the paper. I'm going to fill in a circle here, and then now I'm going to do the same thing with the Sharpie. Now I'm going to take the paper and I'm going to angle it at the light and see if there's any reflection. It's pretty much the same. There's not much of a difference at all, really. Although I think there might be a little bit more reflection in the Sharpie than a Staedtler. But if I had to choose between these two, personally, as a beginner, I would go with the Staedtler one. You get a better grip, and you can actually draw smaller lines with this if you don't apply hardly any pressure, because the tip of the pen is actually a little bit smaller. I'll show you what I mean by that. And another thing I will mention is that depending on the speed that you draw with these pens, you can draw a smaller line with this one than you can with this one as well. So I will change the pressure and the speed that I draw it. So this is going to be with the Staedtler one. I'm going to be doing a thinner line, as you can see there. Now I can change the angle of it. So it's a pretty thin line. Now let's try that with the Sharpie. As you can see there with the Sharpie, I am able to hold the pen at more of an angle than I can with the Staedtler, but because of that, it does cause the line to not really stay that bold. And what I mean is there's a little bit of breakup in the line, and then you've got some white separation between the line and the paper there. But now I want to try it again, but without holding it at such an angle. Hold it more like this. As you can see there, the end might have a little bit of a feathering there, but that's probably because I was holding the pen. Pretty sure the other one will do the same thing with the Staedtler. Yeah, obviously. But the Staedtler does it a little bit more, I noticed, than with the Sharpie if you're holding them down. So let's actually compare that. If I hold it onto the paper for about 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now let's compare the Sharpie. 1, 2, 3. Definitely a big difference there between the Staedtler and the Sharpie as far as when you're holding the pen on the paper. I'm going to try that again. 1, 2, 3. So there's quite a big difference actually as far as the feathering on the paper depending on how long you hold the pen down. So one advantage of the Staedtler is going to be the grip, which is going to be more comfortable and better for beginners. Both of them about the same line width, I would say, about the same line quality. Although I might give the edge slightly to the Sharpie pen as far as line quality, but the difference is so small it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So as far as when you hold the pen down, this one, the Sharpie pen, you don't really get any feathering. It doesn't fill in as quick, whereas the Staedtler one does. But you might think that that is a downside for the Staedtler. But if you're drawing something, and let's say you have an area like this that you want to fill in, well, you can fill it in a lot quicker because the ink spreads out. Whereas if you're doing it with the Sharpie, you've got to draw extra lines and fill in more. So that is the advantage of that. So I think all in all, they come out to be in pretty much the same, pretty similar as far as the quality of the line and everything else. So if you found this useful, go ahead and let me know what you liked about the video, anything else you'd like me to cover. So which one of these pens do you like to use, and which one do you think is better? And if so, go ahead and let me know in the comments below which one you prefer and why. And if there's anything you'd like me to cover in a future video, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Give this video a share and a like, and I will see you in the next one.